about you is if you have ambition to be great, my job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What's good, Fit Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for yet another one. I appreciate each and every one of you. Let me just fix that. That's better. That should be better. What's good, Fit Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for yet another one. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming out here on this Tuesday night. I know some of y'all, your Heat are out. Some of y'all, your Panthers are out, which I told y'all. I can't believe the Rangers beat the Canes, but that's another story. And show announcement too, guys. In case you did not know, my show tomorrow with Big O and Omar, with Omar Kelly and Nick Hicks has been altered due to an exclusivity deal that I did not know until yesterday Omar Kelly had with Big O. So basically what's happened is unless he's on Sun Sentinel or I Am Athlete, due to the exclusivity deal with Big O, Omar Kelly really can't go on any other platform. So for example, if you watch me and Dudley, neither one of us can have Omar on. If you watch TD Finstock, Omar Kelly cannot go on TD Finstock. So that's what the whole basic deal with that is. Basically, any Dolphin insider or any Dolphin writer you see that goes up on Big O, he has an exclusivity deal with them and they can't go on all of our other platforms. That's basically what this has turned into now. So this is something that never really existed in this community until Big O came into the community. It's let's call it what it is. It's, we're monopolizing Dolphin beat reporters now, right? And so that's what the case is. That's what the deal is, man. And this is nothing I told, I told Big O all this stuff, and we had a conversation today for quite some time when I found out, because what had happened was I locked in the time today with Nick and Omar at 5 to 6, and then I didn't watch the Big O today, and Omar Kelly texted me after I told him that we're good to go for 5 to 6, and he texted me back and he said, yeah, Big O basically killed that on the air today. So, and that's another thing. Me and Omar got to have a conversation because I got the man's phone number and we text. So I don't know about this whole whose reason. I don't get this. So, I'm definitely going to have to have a conversation about that because, my friend, I got text messages here. All right. So, that's the deal. That's how this is going, man, and do I agree with it? No. Well, what can I do? It's out of my hands, and Big O has sponsors for these segments, and these sponsors are basically sponsoring the segments based off the fact that they believe these people are going to be exclusive to, if you can't find them on their home platform, the only other platform you can find them on is Big O. And I told Big O this, and I'll tell all of you this. This isn't good for the community. I'm the only one that has Nick Hicks up here. I'm a personal friend of Nick Hicks. Unless Nick Hicks asked me in my opinion of, hey, should I go on this show? You know what I mean? Like, should I be out here signing to a deal and saying, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that? I get it. It's radio. That's how people operate. That's how this community didn't operate like that. And now this kind of stuff is being brought into it. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like I said to Big O, and I'll say to all of you guys, if you're a fan of Dudley and you're a fan of Reason, you probably want to hear Reason and Dudley chop it up with any one of these beat reporters. You know what I mean? If you're a fan of TD Finstock, you probably want to hear Tony TD chop it up with one of these reporters. That's just what you want to hear. You want to hear a variety of conversations. And if you want my honest opinion of this whole exclusivity thing kind of robs our fan base of that. This is taking away from our fan base. This isn't giving to our fan base. So I don't agree with it. That's my opinion on it. I'm always going to be as transparent as anyone out here. It is what it is. But I'm sorry. I just don't agree with. I don't agree with that. I think, when I started this, and anyone who's doing this, at the end of the day, your core audience is the fans. It's about what the fan wants. It's not up to us to dictate what the fans want. It's about what the fans want themselves. It's our job to put out content and see if the fans want that based on feedback and reception and such. So personally, for me, I don't agree with it. It is what it is. Nothing we can do. All we can do is I'm going to have Nick Hicks up. I'll do it on community for members only. If you're a YouTube channel member, look for a community post tonight. If you are a Patreon, look for a post tonight. Patreons and YouTube channel members, I will be posting an opportunity for you to reply on either platform in the community tab for members only or for Patreons. I'll give you guys a chance. Send your questions in that you have about Nick, Tua. Don't forget Chase Edmonds is also a Perform athlete. Lynn Bowden is too. And I'll siphon through them, and good questions. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll ask. So already got a bunch of stuff lined up. It would have been, that's what taps my ass about the situation. Okay. The community needed this. And yes, Big O offered for me to bring it on, but at the end of the day, let's call a spade here. Okay. Why am I going to bring my idea and something I want and something? Why did I go through all this legwork to bring these people together only to do it on someone else's platform? I'm sorry, and I want people to get it straight. There's no beef between me and Big O. This is just how I feel on the situation. Me and him have talked. I understand where he's coming from. He understands where I'm coming from. That's it. But why would I go and bring my show and my content on someone else's platform? Why would I do that? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense for me. All right. That's me putting in all the legwork, my idea, and the benefits of it are reaped by someone else. And I don't even mean financially, subscribers, likes, helping the algorithm. Why would I do that I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense. From a creative standpoint, that doesn't make any sense. And so now everyone knows if this show with Nick Hicks and Omar Kelly, which I will tell you right now, it will not pop up on Big O's platform. We all know where that idea came from, but it will not. I will tell you that right now. Okay. Because that's the thing. Now this has turned into, he brings Omar Kelly to the table. I bring Nick Hicks to the table. So, hey, like I said again directly, listen, if I had an exclusivity contract with someone to come on my show and Dougley hit me up and said, hey, Reason, I want to have so-and-so on. Here you go. Again, like I told Big O, like I tell all of you, we just do things differently. We just operate differently, obviously. So, is what it is, man. If you want me to get even more transparent, at the end of the day, the fans suffer. It's the fans who miss out. It's both of our core audiences miss out here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not pleased with this situation by any stretch of the imagination. I should have known about this exclusivity contract before I even started putting all the legwork to line up everyone's schedules. Okay. B, at the end of the day, I'm a guy on YouTube who's climbing up to 10,000 subs. I ain't here taking money out of people's pockets if I do that show. But again, I understand Big O's commitment to his sponsors. So that's why there's no beef or anything like that. I don't agree with it. Right? It's just one of those things where we all can just agree to disagree, and it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, Big O, the person, I got nothing but love for. He's been good to me. He's been nice to me. That's it. We get along. That's cool. The business side just didn't line up this time. And it happens. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, you guys suffer. You guys don't get the content. So it is what it is. Don't let it be what it ain't, man. So that's just what it is, man. Me and Nick will bring it to y'all tomorrow. And we'll be live at about 8:00 tomorrow night. Me and Nick Hicks. I'll be live for like an hour and we'll go through it. Because personally, it just is what it is, man. I'm not gonna. The more I talk about it, the more I get annoyed about it. It's just no. What actually, and that's a good question, Topher. What was explained to me was Ian Rappaport cannot go on a Dolphin centric podcast and talk Dolphins. That's what was explained to me. Because Ian Rappaport, we did talk about that today. So, hey, is what it is. Like I told him, like I'll tell everyone out here, you can put whatever obstacle in the way of me and my channel. You can try to stop me and my channel whatever way, but I'm going to continue being great, getting better, and climbing this thing rung by damn rung. All right. So, Omar Kelly not being allowed on the show because of an exclusivity deal in place that I didn't know about. That ain't going to stop this train, baby. That's just what it is. All right. So, is what it is, man. Again, nothing personal between me and Big O. It's business, right? That's the whole thing. It's business. So let it be what it is, man. I got nothing but love for Big O the person, and we all good in my books. It just sucks for you guys. That's all. It just sucks. So, and I was looking forward to chopping it up. That was going to be a good meeting of the minds, but me and Nick, we're still going to bring that fire tomorrow. Don't you worry about that. It'll be Nick's second time on the channel. So it should be a good time. I'm excited and to have Nick on tomorrow. Great dude. One of my, one of my friends in this industry, one of the people I can count on. I appreciate him a ton. So one of the few in this business, in this industry, in this Dolphins community who, actually went out of his way to wish me not only a happy birthday, but also a Merry Christmas too. So that stuff goes a long way. That stuff does go a long way with me, man. So is what it is. Don't let it ever be what it ain't. So, I've already explained it. I've been on his show. I was on his show during the draft. Actually, when he chopped up his segments, like how he does, me and Dougley were the top two view getters when you look at individual segments on that draft day 2. Go look at the numbers. So, again, yes, Big O's been on mine, and Big O will probably be on mine down the line, and I'll probably be on his show down the line. The whole point is of the reason why I'm not doing this show on someone else's show is A, it's my idea. B, I put in all the legwork to put this together. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to produce a show for someone else. I'm my own content creator. I got my own family and my own channel to run. I'm not here to create content for other people. And that's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now. Now this is not going to happen unless this happens in a Twitter space. It's not going to happen anytime soon. In terms of Nick and Omar sitting down and all of us getting to the bottom of a bunch of stuff. So again, fans suffer. No one else. Is what it is, man. Buddy, I've been planning this for 2 or 3 weeks. I've been brainstorming it for about 2 months. Guys, that's what I was lining up to be my relaunch, my brand relaunch show was going to be that show. So I had been brainstorming that show for a minute. Reason, you both are great informers. Enjoy listening to you both, but unfortunately, business is business, so it's just the way it goes. Great, man. Bro, that's how I look at it, bro. That's why I don't have any grudge towards Big O. I'm just telling you how I feel about the situation, right? Like, obviously, I'm irritated, bothered, and not happy with the situation, but I have no, ill will towards Big O. I still consider him a friend. We still get along. So that's why it's business, whatever. It is business. So it is what it is. Nick will be here tomorrow. We'll still put out a banger for all y'all. You know what time it is. I ain't worried. All right, let's get into this stuff. We got a bunch to go over here. We're gonna I want to go over like some of the main questions in regards to an article kind of spawned this idea for me. An article by a homie, friend of the show, David Furones of the Sun Sentinel. He basically he wrote an article. We'll go over it. It's about revamped Dolphins head into mandatory minicamp with questions remaining. And so without even reading the article, I thought to myself, what are my 5 biggest questions for the Dolphins heading into mandatory minicamp? And I've got them written down. We'll go over that. Some interesting comments. I mean, you guys know I love me the draft content. And an interesting thing here. Jim Nagy, Barry Jackson did a 2-part series with Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl, talking about some of the UDFAs as well as the rookie draft class of the Miami Dolphins. And I want to go over that with you guys, both articles actually. And then a couple other things we got to go over. I got a video from CBS I wanted to go over with you guys and gals. We'll go over that. On top of that, a kind of interesting little tidbit. I just thought it was curious, and you guys should hear about it in terms of from the Monday Morning Quarterback by Albert Breer. It was kind of interesting about what the plan was before Flores took the job. So I wanted to go over that with you guys. And then hold on a sec here, guys. On top of that, a couple other things too. PFF had a really interesting article about every team's top 3 players entering 2022. And then I got a real good question for you guys, and I might even change the thumbnail to this because I came on it last minute. And I'm going to pose this question to you guys when we get into this article. But if you were to tier the offenses in the NFL do the Dolphins have a top tier offense when you break it down? You know what I mean? And I wanted to really look into that because I got an article about that. Um, but I think that's a good question. You know what I mean? You look at all the changes we've made, because what would be amazing about that is if you say we are, or if you think we are, um, that's a pretty big leap. That's a pretty big leap. Like that's massive leap. You know, going from one of the worst to one of the best. I mean, that's the stuff. Those type of turnarounds, those can lead to championships. Um, um, one second here. Um, all right, perfect. Yeah, so we got a bunch to go over here. I'm gonna actually probably start off with the topic. In terms of looking at the biggest questions, and I'm going to start off with my questions, and then I think we'll go ahead and we'll get into the article for you guys. So you look at minicamp. I want you guys to take a second too in the chat. What is your biggest question for the Dolphins heading into mandatory minicamp? Because there are things you can figure out, right? um there are things you can figure out. So let's go over this, okay? By the way, smash that like button. 379 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Go ahead and donate to the channel if you feel like it. If you don't, hey, just smash that like button. Anything helps. So I got some questions, and let's start off with my questions heading into minicamp. The biggest questions for me. All right. I'm just trying to see if you guys have any. Okay, right tackle, center right tackle, the offensive line period. Okay, so those are your guys' biggest questions. So let's start this then. So for me, my first big question is, how does the back room shake out? What I mean by that is, who takes hold of running back 3? Do we all assume it's going to be probably Sony Michel? Is it Sony Michel that takes it over? You know what I mean? Does Sony Michel take it over? Does it become RB3? I think that's a pretty good question to have here. Another one here. Let's see. You look at past Moser. Okay, once you get past Moser and Edmonds, we start asking the questions. Who's going to be running back 3? Who's going to be running back 4? You got Sony Michel, Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed. Then you got Secondary White being in the mix, and you got Jared Dokes is still sticking around. So when you got all of these guys sticking around, and you got a pretty loaded backfield, now that it's mandatory, so all the bodies are going to be there, we're going to start to get a feel of what it looks like behind the top 2 guys. Even in minicamp, mandatory minicamp, we're going to start to get that feel. So the question I have really is, how does this running back room shake out heading into training camp? I think we're going to have a pretty good grasp of who the running back 3 is going to be heading in, and who's going to be in the real dogfight for that 4th running back spot. But this is a question that I'm really interested in. That 3rd spot, we all assume it's going to be Sony Michel, but what if we're wrong? And how could we be wrong? That leads to my second question, guys. Who's going to be the biggest surprise at mandatory minicamp? There's always someone that's surprised at mandatory minicamp and emerges as a real competition for a starting job, or, needless I say, pencils, not pens, pencils their name in as a starter heading into camp. Who's going to be the biggest surprise? Is it going to be Trill Williams? Is it going to be Elijah Mitchell fighting for that cornerback 4 spot? You know what I mean? Is Verone McKinley, who I think got a real shot, is going to make this team, is he going to start the dethroning of Eric Rowe before we even get to training camp? Is he going to show off? Who's going to be the biggest surprise? Who are the media going to come away with and say, wow, that guy's got some juice? Or, wow, I liked every rep I saw from that guy. Or, wow, I didn't expect that guy to show out that way. There's always one, even in mandatory minicamp. There's always at least one. Who's it going to be? You want to know who I hope it is? I hope it's Austin Jackson. That's who I hope it is. I hope it's Austin Jackson. Because if it's Austin, or give me Eichenberg, or give me Dieter. Give me one of those three guys. If it's one of those three guys, at least we know we got right tackle and center locked down. So we need this not only who's going to be the biggest surprise, but please, can you be a good surprise? Can you be a beneficial surprise? I don't want someone coming out of nowhere and totally dethroning at a position we're already strong at. Like, sure, would I like Tyndall to be a surprise and bump down Atlanta Roberts? 110%. Do I need that more than Austin Jackson being the biggest surprise, or Michael Dieter being the biggest surprise, or Liam Eichenberg being the biggest surprise? No, I need those more. I need those more. I need that offensive line shored up. And, I brought up Elijah Mitchell and Trill Williams. No Igbenogany. Is this guy going to start to take a hold of CB4? He's going to get the reps. Like, we know what we got in Byron and X. They're not going to be out there for every single rep during mandatory minicamp. These are the reps where Noah's got to start making them matter, even if they're small time right now. We drafted you 30th overall. If we cannot get CB4 out of you in a room right now, once after you get past Howard, Jones, and Needham, there are serious questions here. What are we doing with our life? What are we doing with this? This experiment is officially a failure if this guy can get CB4. See, that's the thing. Everyone want to be hard on Tua, but let's talk about the real bust here in the 2020 first round, and that's Noah Igbenogany. At least Austin Jackson has given us okay reps at times. Igbenogany, what is he giving us? We've got nothing. We've got nothing back in return wise for that investment. Are you going to start to take a CB4? Are you going to start to man up? So the opportunity is there, because let's be honest, Igbenogany's got a chance to be the answer to the question previous before. Who will be the biggest surprise of the group? Igbenogany, the ball's in his court to be that surprise. It's just a matter of if he's actually going to take the shot and hit the Kawhi buzzer beater, not Jimmy Butler, the buzzer beater. No offense, Heat fans. I still love y'all. And I was betting on Jimmy for 30 plus. I bet on two threes he couldn't deliver. Anyways, Igbenogany, is he going to start to take a hold of that CB4 spot? Who's going to lead as this emerging candidate at center? Like, at least with Eichenberg and Austin Jackson, we have an idea. Over here at center, it's like, yeah, let's try other options from Dieter. And that's not good. I mean, that don't make me feel good about with what we're dealing with right now. Don't make me feel good at all. So, are we going to come out? If we come out of camp and Connor Williams has emerged as a leading candidate, we got issues. We got serious issues. Because now we're putting a weak link in between him and Teron Armstead. And we would have a weak link at right tackle. Because what this tells me is, because I'm hearing they like Eichenberg at guard. And I'm really worried that they're going to go that route. And they're going to throw Connor at center and Eichenberg at left guard. this toying never works out well for us. Ever. And I think one of the biggest questions, because we'd never heard or seen this momentum be built before, will Tua keep up the momentum he's built so far? I mean, we've never heard the praises we've heaped onto him that we've heard early on when the media saw him. We, you know, it's kind of always been you know what I mean? When we go back to early OTA reports over the last the last 2 years. But now this is different. Now this is, the arm's noticeably different. It's noticeably better, especially over the middle of the football field. Is he going to be able to keep this momentum up? Is this going to be a recurring, consistent theme? I'm not trying to hear this just for OTAs. I'm trying to hear this in OTAs, mandatory minicamp, all the way through training camp, all the way through the preseason, and well into the regular season. That's what I'm here for. So I'm here for consistency, whether it's momentum, reading defenses, all three levels of the football field, whatever the case. I'm here for consistency. So is he going to keep up this momentum he started to build for himself and carry it? It's going to be interesting, man. And it starts tomorrow night. So or tomorrow in the day, and I'll be covering it. I'll be with Nick Hicks tomorrow. We'll mention minicamp, and then the following day we'll be covering it again too. So those are my 5 biggest questions for the Dolphins heading in to training camp. Guys, remember, save 15% off at Pick Six Apparel by using code FINSIDE the NFL at pick6apparel.co.uk. Article by David Ferrone is that just kind of inspired what we just talked about there. And what he said was this. He said, Revamped Dolphins head into mandatory minicamp with questions remaining. The Miami offseason workout program shifts from organized team activities to a mandatory minicamp this week, with sessions on Wednesday and Thursday. New coach Mike McDaniel in his first several practices run as an NFL coach, continues to install an offensive offseason model of the work ethic he wants the team to possess before it heads into training camp. You're first trying to identify a standard which you play at and a standard with which you practice, McDaniel said last week about OTAs. Within that, there's your camaraderie, and that's where your relationships are built. There are blood, sweat, and tears that are earned over hard work, and you're trying to get a team to decide what their standard of play is going to be. And then you want to uphold that standard because that's the way you operate and function as a football team. The Dolphins have already had nearly their entire squad present for voluntary OTAs the previous 2 weeks. And now all healthy players are expected to come together on the Dolphins practice field for what will be the best look at the 2022 team before training camp opens in late July. Most notably, cornerback Xavier Howard and left tackle Teron Armstead, team's pride free agent upgrade on the offensive line, may join the team for the offseason workouts. Howard missed last year's mandatory minicamp while he was at odds with the team over his contract. He also likes to do his offseason workouts with his own camp. He has since been placated, first in training camp ahead of the 2021 season, and then again with his restructured deal this offseason. While the Dolphins have not had Howard or number 2 cornerback Byron Jones defend their revamped receiving corps during OTAs, it's unknown if Jones is ready to return for minicamp after undergoing that surgery. because he didn't want to get traded. Armstead also had surgery on a knee that pestered him throughout his final season with the New Orleans Saints. He played just 8 games last year and missed the December 27th meeting with the Dolphins. I had a procedure in the offseason, Armstead said, cleaned up some stuff from last year. I feel great. I've just been rehabbing, training, and getting myself ready to roll for when we start. While not participating, see, and that's the thing. I don't want guys rehabbing. I need them training right now. Rehabbing? While not participating in Miami's OTA practices, Armstead was seen doing post-practice work with a pair of Miami Dolphins linemen heading into their second seasons, Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones, after one of the sessions that was open to the media. The Dolphins have gotten an early glimpse of what the 2022 team will look like. Offensively, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been able to get a field for throwing to speedy offseason acquisition Tyreek Hill, who brings 6 Pro Bowl selections and 1 Super Bowl to Miami's receiving corps. Pieces of McDaniel's run game have been installed, while Raheem Mostert, already familiar with McDaniel from time with San Francisco, takes it slow in returning from last season's knee injury. The offensive line, the team's most troublesome unit in 2021, can potentially begin to see what it looks like with Armstead slotted in at left tackle in minicamp. His position is the one that has been solidified on the line, according to McDaniel. Questions remain on how the rest of the group will be. While the Dolphins may continue to mix and match throughout the offseason, Connor Williams, a guard for 4 years with the Cowboys, is being given a shot at center, and others have positional flexibility between guard and tackle, or guard and center for Michael Dieter. Defensively, the unit that was kept intact for last season can inch closer to a full return if Howard is present in the secondary, and with defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah, a key re-signing this offseason, leading a pass rush that also recently added former Pro Bowl defensive end Melvin Ingram. Following the 2-practice minicamp, the Dolphins wrap up their offseason program with a final week of OTAs that includes 1 session open to the media next Tuesday. So the OTAs will go down next Tuesday, next week. Man, we are not far away from football, at least training camp. Because I don't know about you, but I count football being back when training camp comes back. Because I need that football in my life. Jesus. So, yeah. Well, I'll be live with Nick tomorrow. I'll talk a little mandatory mini camp. And then on Thursday, I'll be covering mandatory mini camp as well for all of you guys. Next thing here. This little clip that I wanted to play from you guys from CBS. Let's go over this.
For Miami and Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. Look, you got speed on the field, adding Tyreek Hill and others there. Buy or not buying the hypes for the Fins here?
Not buying the hype. They did a good job getting Teron Armstead and others to bolster that offensive line. But even in the clips that are already coming out, Tua's underthrowing Tyreek Hill. So one of the 2 things has to happen. Is Tyreek Hill going to get upset and slow down? Or is Tua Tagovailoa going to all of a sudden find an enormous capacity to hit the ball downfield? It's strange after the success Tua's had in college and really even last season, but he just cannot be consistent. He makes big-time throws at times, but he was never asked to be a slice-and-dice quarterback at Alabama. You have to be that in the pros, and he's already underthrowing Tyreek Hill. I'm not buying the hype here.
So, because, like, listen, this is how ridiculous the media is. Because of, and we've already heard what Nick Scott, a DB in the NFL, had to say about this. This guy is literally taking a clip in May to heart. Literally, we're doing this right now. That's what the issue is here. Like, we're really doing this? We're really taking a clip in May and making it more meaningful than it really is? You know, now people are like, well, I don't buy the hype because of it. Are you serious? If how how high can your football IQ truly be if you are out on a team based on a practice throw you saw in May? Someone answer me this. How high can your football IQ really truly be? Like, again, I tell all you guys, notice this stuff in terms of the stuff happening at practice right now, but don't put a ton of stock into it. Now, if somebody gets hurt and tears their ACL, okay, put some stock into it. But like, we're getting to levels of ridiculousness here now that, you know, now we're out and not believing hype because of an underthrow. Okay. Nothing tangible you saw on film as a player, but an underthrow from a practice in May. Wow. Someone explain to me how I can get these people's job. Because I'm telling you, I can do it a whole hell of a lot better than that. I mean, at least if I was out on a player, I could explain to you guys why I'm out on a player. Not, well, you know, man, when they first put on those shorts and OTAs and he underthrew that one guy, right then and there, I knew it was over. Really? Get on your knees and pray it's over, because this guy's about to make you look foolish. Ridiculous. All right. 2-part series here from Barry Jackson I wanted to go over with you guys. Let's do this. So, part 1, he talked to Jim Nagy of the Senior Bowl regarding the Dolphins UDFA and draft class. So, as we head into Dolphins minicamp this week, Senior Bowl executive director Jim Nagy, a former NFL scout, assessed the key rookies added by the team at quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. His feedback in a phone conversation. Kansas State quarterback Skylar Thompson, who's looking better than Teddy in shorts. Oh, that must mean Teddy's not a pro, right? We liked him. Going back a couple years, we were watching him quite a bit. Met him at the Minicamp, really liked him. I thought his age would force him to go undrafted. Good athlete, gritty kid. He plays the position well, he processes well, makes good decisions. It has been a durability thing and an age thing with him. We had good grades on Skylar the last couple of years. You're drafting a guy you can anticipate competing for in an undrafted free agency. So by picking him in the 7th round, you avoid needing to compete with other teams to sign him. He's a good quarterback. Thompson has impressed the Dolphins during the team's offseason programs, so much so that Miami recently cut former Arizona Cardinals quarterback Chris Streveler. Thompson had shoulder surgery in October 2020, ending his season. Nagy said no, he looked good in that Minicamp last offseason. In the radio interview before last season, Nagy said that he's big, put together guy. He showed me a scar from surgery. His arm was live. He's got power behind his arm. He threw it with good velocity. The arm was good enough. There's so much to like about his game, the competitiveness, the toughness, the pocket feel. The thing that hurts him a little bit is the stats. Those aren't going to jump off the page. He plays in a pro-style system, so he doesn't have those gaudy 40 touchdown numbers. But what he does have is experience in a pro system that's proven. There's a lot in his play pre-snap, all the motions and shifting. He's running an NFL system. Nagy, on a guy that I've told you I like quietly, Mississippi receiver Braylon Sanders, signed after the draft. He can run, fast kid. Transitioning away from the Ole Miss offense is a challenge for all these guys in terms of route tree and route running. He's a good athlete. We would not have invited him to Senior Bowl if we didn't think he was a draftable player. He was a late ad for us at the Senior Bowl. Maybe some of the durability stuff is a concern, but his big playability and can really run. He was well liked in that program. He averaged 21.1 yards on 69 collegiate receptions, but missed time with assorted injuries. On Tanner Connor, the Idaho State receiver, signed as a UDFA by the Dolphins, who's been moved to tight end. He fell right below the cut line for us as far as Senior Bowl invites. We saw him play live this past fall. Of the 120 guys brought in, we saw 118 live. We went to Portland and saw him play at Portland State. We knew he would be fast. He was a 10.5, 100-meter guy at a high school. You got a guy in the 6'3 range, upper 220s to low 230s and running that well. He didn't get a combine invite, which surprised me. That 10.5 he ran a track for the track team in the 100. You can see on tape he can accelerate off the line of scrimmage for a big guy. He's a little bit of a tweener. Is he a big physical wideout, or is he more of an H-back tight end, which is what they're using him as? If he's more of a pass-catching tight end, then there's development needed, and you're asking him to do something he has never had to do. The Dolphins will try the 6'3", 226-pound Connor at tight end. One area to improve, he can clean up some of the catching stuff, but he certainly can run. Big guy that can run. You're trying to hit on traits with undrafted free agents. I thought that was a great get for Miami. I thought he would be drafted. So, big praise. Thought he'd be drafted, right? On Zacondre White. And remember, guys, my Verone McKinley prospect preview, that's coming up. On Zacondre White, he got hurt in the middle of the Senior Bowl week of practices, which hurt because backs can help themselves in the game. While White was a linebacker for a year at FSU, transferred to Iowa Western Community College, and then averaged 6.2 yards on 104 carries in 2 years with South Carolina. I know some teams that had as high as a 4th-round grade on him before the pre-draft process. Late bloomer as a running back. History on defense. He didn't test quite as well as you would thought he might on pro day measurables. There was word he might be one of the top testing running backs. He tested well, but not quite to that level. You put on the tape, and he has explosiveness. It's true. He can put his foot in the ground, and there's a noticeable burst when he plants his foot. He's got physicality that projects well on special teams. You feel good about that with Zacondre. Physicality, explosiveness on contact, and a background on defense tackling people that should help on special teams. Nice get for Miami. He has make it talent. Nagy did not evaluate Eric Azukuma, the Dolphins' 4th-round pick, because he was an underclassman not eligible for the Senior Bowl. And then on the second part of that series, this is what Barry had to say. We've always found Senior Bowl Executive Director Jim Nagy, a former NFL scout, to be a good judge of talent. Heading into this week's minicamp, Nagy has sorted some of the rookies that the Dolphins had at quarterback and all the different positions. His feedback on Channing Tindall, selected 102nd overall. Channing has got a really high ceiling. There was a game in the beginning of the year against Clemson that he may have played only 10, 11 snaps the whole game, but the 10, 11 he played, he got your attention. The Georgia linebacker coach is a friend of mine, and he's been telling me that he loves Channing in that group of linebackers. They had so many top guys. That group of Georgia linebackers included Quay Walker, who went 22nd to Green Bay, and Nakobe Dean, who went 83rd to Philly. The things that stick out about Channing are speed, range, and physicality. Everyone in the league is looking for guys that can run and hit and cover, and Channing can certainly do that. You fill your linebacker room with guys that can run in 4.4s, and you're heading in the right direction. He wouldn't have reached 102 if he played a prominent role on a lesser defense. He gets clumped in as a byproduct of that particular unit. It's true. I mean, he might not have made it out of the top 50 if he played somewhere else because of the opportunities he would have had, and he might have just popped off like ridiculously. He ain't lying. Not lying at all. Cal Edge player Cameron Good, the first of Miami's 2 7th-round picks. He used the extra COVID year of eligibility, and we've been watching him 3 years. He's a good player. You knew he would test well, didn't know he'd test that well. To get a guy that has had proven pass rush ability that late in the draft as a good tester, that's a good pick. At that point in the draft, you're looking to add guys at premium positions with traits. Guys at Cal rave about his character. One of our Senior Bowl guys is on staff at Cal and says great things about him. He's got a trait everyone looks for, a guy that can attack the quarterback. It's true. I mean, he's a liability in coverage and everything, but man, if you develop him properly, Cam Good could be a steal. It's just he needs development. Right now, he is strictly a blitzing. He's strictly for rush packages, nothing more. Oregon safety Verone McKinley, he was a late ad for us during the week. We brought him in midweek, but the things you like about Verone are the instincts and the finishing skills, good eyes, can't anticipate, and when he's around the ball, he can get his hands on it. All the things he just mentioned there, those, buddy, anyone in the secondary with all those, with instincts, with finishing skills, good eyes, watching the quarterback, who can anticipate and is a ball hawk, that's a recipe for big time success at the next level. He had a nice Ohio State game early in the year, played a lot in the slot. That's probably his best home. If you play him deep, speed might be a bit of a concern. Nagy said the Senior Bowl had free agent or priority free agent grades on the 6 other post-draft defensive additions, so he did not personally evaluate him. On Kellen Deesh, who you guys know I'm a huge fan of, he was right around the cut line for us. It surprised me he didn't get drafted. Good tape. A little bit of a tweener in that his arms were disproportionately short for a guy that tall, 6'7". He's a good athlete, controlled mover, more controlled than twitchy. He did a nice job at the college level playing a tackle. In the NFL, you worry about the lack of length. He might be headed towards guard, which he has done some. Good athlete. There's a lot to like there. I thought he'd be drafted. I would expect him to have a good shot to make. I agree. He'll make it as a tackle or a guard. Dice will make it. I'm telling you. I mean, look at what Nagy said a lot of good things about a lot of the guys we brought in, and a lot of these guys, I'm high on to an extent too, right? I mean, you guys all know how I feel about Verone McKinley, Zacrondre White. You all know what the deal is. I love these guys. So, man, to hear Nagy, who I respect a whole hell of a lot, to hear him out here praising these guys, that is very, very, that's huge, man. That is huge, man. Next up. Is this the best projected season ever set for Tua Tagovailoa? Tua Tagovailoa's best projected season is set with 2022 projection. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has improved each year he's played. This is at every level of football. This year should be no different. With that kind of track record, the improvement he makes is yet to be seen. But the prediction is that Tagovailoa's best projected season is set for 2022. That projection is due to the addition of Tyreek Hill, Sony Michel, and an improved offensive line. Tagovailoa will have first-time opportunities in 2022. He has a new coaching staff that believes in him and supports him. The support and belief under the Mike McDaniel watch seems to be a lot stronger than Tagovailoa's previous NFL coaches. McDaniel said, "You can tell it's empowering to the player that there's people that believe in him. We've all been in communication to build that relationship and trust." When asked about Tagovailoa at the NFL Combine, the offseason addition of speedy receivers allows Tagovailoa to succeed with more than one. Additionally, he will have a Pro Bowl left tackle blocking for him. Having a Pro Bowl blocker like Teron Armstead will give him talented protection for the first time in his career. Tagovailoa hasn't been a bad quarterback. During the 2021 season, and listen to what I'm about to tell you. During the 2021 season, he was the best RPO quarterback in the NFL. He produced the most RPO passing yards, 847. He was the best red zone quarterback in the NFL as well. He had the highest completion percentage of red zone passes with more than 50 attempts at 64.8%. He was also the second best accurate quarterback of passes over 20 yards with at least 20 attempts, 48.3 behind Justin Herbert's 48.4. Tagovailoa had the fourth best on-target completion percentage, 80.1% behind Herbert's 80.2. He was even statistically better than division rival Josh Allen's first two seasons. He also had statistically similar numbers in his first 16 games as Tom Brady's first 16 games of his career. However, Tagovailoa has gotten bad press coverage. That's because of other quarterbacks selected in the draft class that he was in. Tagovailoa's criticism wouldn't be so harsh if Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow had some type of first 2-year stats that's Josh Allen, Tom Brady, or Drew Brees did. They had the same. Many Dolphin fans are angry when they saw the numbers Herbert produced. That anger stemmed from Tagovailoa being selected instead of Herbert. NFL pundits use highlights of bad plays by Tagovailoa to magnify their criticisms. And that bad press coverage ignored the bad highlight plays from other quarterbacks in Tagovailoa's draft class to focus on his faults. If drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers or the Cincinnati Bengals, Tagovailoa's fate would have been different. His playmakers would have been better, and he would have had more passing attempts. His accuracy wouldn't have been vindicated his stats with higher passing totals and more touchdowns. But the Dolphins have put around him a team similar to Tagovailoa's incredible Alabama team. And with 3 years removed from his hip injury, nothing less than top-tier performance should come from Tagovailoa's best projected season. Tagovailoa's projected stats for 2022 are listed below. 391 of 546 for 71.6 completion percentage, 4,574 yards, 39 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. The projected stats are based on projections of running backs, receivers, tight ends, Tagovailoa's seasonal progression, and improved health. Man, is that a fair stat line? Because where I'm at with it is I need 66 to 70% completion percentage. I need 3,800 to 4,200 yards, and give me 28 to 32 touchdowns and minimize those interceptions from 8 to 11. Like 39 touchdowns, damn. If he has these numbers this year, they're not moving off Tua. 71.6 completion percentage for 4,500 yards, 39 touchdowns, 16 picks. That's ridiculous. What are your guys' projections for Tua? And what's crazy is whatever we all say, we're obviously probably going to project the best season possible for this guy. And it's all because we're taking into account everything that's around him. Right? Interesting little tidbit from Albert Breer and his Monday morning quarterback. He was talking about the Omar Kahn hiring for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is what he said where the Dolphins came in. It's 10 takeaways. The Steelers bet on themselves in evaluating long-time exec Omar Kahn into the general manager role. The season will be the 45-year-old Kahn's 22nd in the Steeler organization, and he's been considered a very viable GM candidate for more than half that time. First, it was a Bill Cowher's presumed GM. Had Cowher returned to coaching with teams such as the Giants, Jets, Panthers, or Dolphins, all rumored to be interested, then it was for other jobs such as the one he nearly landed in Houston last year. So what they're saying is, if we, because we were in on Cowher even before we hired Flores, right? There were those rumors were, and that would have been our combination. Omar Kahn and Bill Cowher would have been our combination. And I've heard nothing but great things about Omar Kahn in regards to his football mind and as an executive in the NFL. So I think he's going to probably turn on that chip in Pittsburgh. But just interesting tidbit, what if we had never gone with Flores and we went with Omar Kahn and Bill Cowher in 2019 for this rebuild? Interesting. Food for thought, man. Food for thought. Guys, 433 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Now, next one here. Next little article I wanted to get into. And it's from PFF. And what they did was they took and listed every team's top 3 players. So right now, off the top of your head, who would pop in you? Because if you ask me, I would say Xavier Howard, Tyreek Hill, and it would be Waddle or Javon Holland. I want to hear what you guys would say. Who would your top 3 Dolphin players be? Because here's what PFF said. PFF had Teron Armstead, Xavier Howard, and Tyreek Hill, which is fair. I'm not going to argue. Teron Armstead, I guess, is more established than Waddle, so I'll concede to them. They were right. I'd go with their top 3. The Dolphins have been one of the more aggressive teams in the NFL this offseason in adding talent for the young quarterback who's looking to prove himself. Hill changes how defenses have to prepare for this Dolphins offense, and he's capable of turning the mundane into the extraordinary on any given snap with his speed and twitchiness in the open field. Alongside Hill's addition, Armstead should provide some much-needed stability and pass protection for Tua Tagovailoa. Armstead's 3.8% pressure rate allowed over the last 5 years rates second among qualifying left tackles behind only David Bacardi. Both should provide significant boosts offensively for the Dolphins in 2022, just as Howard does on the other side of the ball. I mean, yeah, I got to give them to them. They were right. I had a brain fart with Armstead. They were right. I'd take Armstead over Waddle and Holland. But, man, you look at the fact that I even having that conversation, and they're so young. But, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be so key for Teron to stay healthy this year. And if you're going to miss a few games, make sure they're not in the playoffs, or make sure they're not big-time playoff implication games, because we know he's going to miss some games here. That's just like a given. Hope he doesn't, but we know he will. So would those be the 3 guys you guys would agree are the best players on the Miami Dolphins? I think people are sleeping on Waddle, man. That guy's going to be the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL this year. Mark my words. Mark my words. And then finally, I got a question for you guys, and I want to answer in the comments. Tell me yes, tell me no. Are the Miami Dolphins a top-tier offense in the NFL already? I asked that because the 33rd team came out with this article tiering the best offensive weapon groups in the NFL 2022. And so what they said was, with OTAs and minicamp on the horizon, here we tier out each team's weapons in the NFL into 7 tiers, from tier 1 to tier 7. After tiering the starting quarterbacks in the NFL this past week. This is a look at their supporting weapons. And for tier 1, these are teams that have premium talent in all 3 position groups looked at within our weapons designation. They have at least 2 receivers on their team that can be at wide receiver 1 with great depth and at running back and tight end. Some players on the tier are familiar faces in new places, Hill and Devontae Adams, as well as the playmaking play group that helped bring the Bengals to the Super Bowl. So number 1, they have Cincinnati, the Bengals, with Mixon, Sammy Perrine, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, and Drew Sample. Number 2 is the Raiders, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Demarcus Robinson, Darren Waller, and Foster Moreau. And then the other top tier group with Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson, Mike Gesicki, and Durham Smythe. Do the Miami Dolphins have a top tier offense? Because the 33rd team says we does, and I tend to agree. I think we do have a top tier offense. I think we do have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and people are going to see it this year firsthand. So, pretty interesting article. Again, that's why the expectations for Tua are through the roof this year. It's simple. When you got publications out here, tiering us already, and this offense, guys, they haven't even seen a play from Mike McDaniel. They haven't even seen his installs in action. They've seen nothing, and already they're saying, well, you got a top-tier weapons. And with top-tier weapons is going to become expectations. Expectations for results. Expectations for points. That's just the nature of the business, right? Come back to that key word again. That's just the nature of the business. And that's why the expectations on all these publications and throughout the media are through the roof for Tua Tagovailoa. Because, listen, we did him a ton of favors as a player. But on the flip coin, didn't do him no favors for taking it slow and trying to figure it out this year. You've seen NFL defenses for 2 years. You know, maybe because you have a pro like Teddy, you'll learn to prepare better. Your preparation process will get better this year. But you've seen NFL defenses for 2 years. You've been acclimating to the play speed for 2 years. All these weapons have done is what happened to Flores last year. Last year, I told you guys all. When people were calling him Don Shula in my chat, I was saying, you watch. Because expectations have arrived. If he doesn't meet them, people are going to turn on him like that. Well, that's the same thing right now. Last year, we said that because of the capital spent and the team put in place. Even though I kept saying, I don't know about that O-line, guys. Pump the brakes. You know, you look at this now, and expectations were already here, and expectations have been ramped up since Mike McDaniel arrived because of acquisitions. So, I mean, you know, I saw people discussing, 8-9 or 9-8, and 2 is gone and McDaniel's fired. Listen, they're not going to fire McDaniel after 1 year. First of all, this is his first year as a coach. All right. The same way rookie players have to go through growing pains as a rookie coach is going to go through growing pains. It's just, that's why you want to surround yourself with the right type of people to lean on that can help guide you through that stuff when the going gets tough. Right. And that's what's happening here now. So, listen, if we go 8-9, 9 or 8, McDaniel will not get fired. Anyone telling you different doesn't know the business. It's because here's the thing. It's going to make this job less attractive for coaching candidates. That shows you're giving no one any time. It's, I need results now or you're out. And what are they going to do that every year until someone makes the playoffs? What if major injuries happen? There's so many variables that happen this season. And there's no way they're going to fire a first-time head coach a year on the job unless the team goes like 0-16. Just no way. So, I mean, I'm hyped. I don't know about all you guys, but I'm hyped. I mean, we are literally a little bit over a month and a half away from getting training camp in action and getting this ball rolling. And I can't wait, guys. We need football back. We need football back right now. I wish it was a longer than a 17-game schedule. I really wish it does. That's the things you love about basketball and hockey. You know, I talk about 82 games, right? So, but man, listen, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you for joining. 457 of you in the room right now. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m., myself and Tua Tagovailoa's trainer from Perform, Nick Hicks, we are going to be live. All you YouTube channel members, all you Patreons, be out on the lookout under the community tab on YouTube tonight. I'm going to post it. The same thing I'm going to post on Patreon. I'm going to give you guys a thread where you can ask questions, and I'll siphon through all the questions, and the best questions will be selected, picked, and asked to Nick Hicks tomorrow. So look for that community pad. Well, even if you don't see it today, if you're a YouTube channel member, look for that community post today. Same thing if you're Patreon, look at that post tonight. It'll be up there. And if it ain't up tonight, it'll be up really early tomorrow. But expect it to be up tonight because I want to get some interaction from you guys. I know you guys got questions about Chase Edmonds. Maybe you got questions about Devin Singletary. I don't know. James Cook. Anything you want to ask. We're open books tomorrow. All right. Until then, guys, I will see you guys tomorrow right back here at 8 p.m. with me, myself, and Nick Hicks. Can't wait to do it. That's the homie. Until then, guys, as always, you already know what time it is. Stay happy, stay healthy, Stay safe. Stay blessed. Fins up all day, every day, baby.